What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Finally getting some stuff done on the tracker that is useful and will help get it back on the road. So I've been working on getting power steering installed. So this was the old manual power or steering gear, no power to it. It was very difficult to steer this. Took the steering rod out, and also had some issues here. This universal joint up there is pretty bad, so that didn't help things either, I'm sure. Now, if you're not sure how that works, like this here, this side connects. Just, I don't know if you can see right there, that little threaded kind of nut standing back there. That's your steering wheel. We'll turn that. And this is connected to here. And then this side goes onto the gearbox like so. So when you turn the steering wheel, it turns the pitman arm, which turns all your steering components. And without any power assist or anything like that, it just is difficult to turn. Even with this little, as lightweight as this car is, I'm putting larger tires and wheels on there. So I knew it would be even harder, especially if I'm going off-road or anything like that with it. I wanted to make it as easy as possible, kind of to crawl around and get on the crawl around rocks and mud and stuff without having to fight the steering. So what we're doing is, with the help of Low Range Off-Road, they helped help me find all the pieces together that I needed. So which is a power steering pump, the powered steering gear, reservoir, and a cooler. So pump's going to pump fluid into the gearbox. You got a hose there, which is going to give this some extra power so it's easier to turn. Once that's done, it will come, the fluid will come out. It'll go through this cooler to cool down before it goes back to the reservoir, and then the reservoir will just feed back into the pump. Like I said, none of these parts are, well, except for the gearbox. That is actually a part for this car. Everything else just aftermarket parts that will go together and work, hopefully. I still have to get this pitman arm off of here and transfer it over. And I have to find, I don't know if I could find a new universal joint for this, or if I'm going to have to go to a junkyard and get a whole steering shaft or what. So luckily that's one of the last pieces that have to go in, so hopefully I can get everything else in and going, and then by the time I'm ready to do that, I'll have that figured out. So first things first is the pump. I got a bracket welded up, which will mount to the side there. The pump can go there and will connect to that pulley. Steering gear will just go in the stock space, which was right here, these 3 bolts. And I'm not sure, the cooler just go on front of the radiator here. I have not quite figured out where this reservoir is going to go because it is rather large. Oops, I'll get the flash. But yeah, this reservoir is pretty big, and so is the mount. So I haven't quite figured out where I'm mounting that yet. Once I get the steering gear and the pump in there, I'll see where I have some room. I don't know if I have any. I don't want to put it too close to the exhaust headers, and so it's warm and kind of defeating the whole purpose of the cooler where it's warm. Does anybody else have this kill switch? I think somebody wired this in, and I was trying to figure out what it was, and it is actually a kill switch for the car. If it is switched off, the car will not start. Switched on, car starts. I've never seen that. It's, you know, it's pretty old, so it almost looks factory, or from at least from the same era as the car originally, but the wiring doesn't look like it was stock wiring, and I don't think that's a stock component. So maybe I can get rid of that, and then I'll have some room in here somewhere, or down here maybe. Just, yeah, I don't know how this is supposed to work, but I'll find somewhere to get that big old canister in there, and we'll go from there. All right, so there's two different steering shafts that are available. There's one, it's two pieces, and it's just got nylon in there. So, you know, on impact, there's nylon. Two-piece shaft, and it's just got nylon rivets in there. So if it's ever impacted, the nylon rivets will break, and the shaft will shorten in case of an accident. And then there is the accordion style impact. So if you're in an accident, this is supposed to, you know, just crunch up like an accordion. Well, I do need to shorten this by about 2 inches, since, you know, this is the manual gearbox. With the auto gearbox on there, there's about 2 inches extra added on there, so I have to take those 2 inches out of the drive shaft. Unfortunately, this is one of the one-piece drive shafts, so I can't just collapse it easily by tapping on it. So I am going to attempt to cut 2 inches out of here and then weld it back together. Alright guys, so it's been a few days since we've been working on this power steering conversion, and I think we are finally done. I gotten everything put together, went to go, except for I hadn't connected the pitman arm yet. Oh, I guess you don't need to be that close to me. But I got everything put together except for the pitman arm, went to connect that, and now here's the pitman arm, and this is off the manual steering box. Turns out that the power steering box has a different spline, so that doesn't fit. So had to find just this. I ended up finding an entire new pump or gearbox that had the pitman arm on it, because nobody was selling just the pitman arm. But I did come across these guys, it's Highway 83 Suzuki, that have parts galore. So they did have that. They had the gearbox with the pitman arm attached. I just went ahead and got that. I actually got the entire kit, so I actually have the ability to install a whole nother power steering kit on another tracker, which my wife's kind of been hinting at. She kind of likes this. She really didn't when I first got it, but she's kind of taken to it, so I may be getting one for her if that's what she wants. But finally got all the pieces in. One other thing that Highway 83 Highway 83 had was a new steering shaft, because like I said, I had to cut this one down and shorten it and re-weld it, which I don't know if you can see those welds there. They're not pretty, and I definitely did not trust that for long-term solution. But I didn't need to, because they sent me one non-welded that was actually the correct size, didn't need to be shortened or anything. So got that in, got the pump in, got the belt on, got all the hoses connected. So as you can see, there's a bunch of fluid on the ground. That's because I had to disconnect a bunch of hoses, reconnect hoses, made a mess all over the place. And so now it's time to see what happens. I'm going to hopefully start it up. Not getting a lot of noise. So I got fluid in here. Yeah, need to add a little bit more there. Slowly turning it, getting fluid to run through here. Get any air out, hopefully. And that's to the stop on this side. That's to the stop the other way. Okay, try to let that run for a little bit. Cycle the steering back and forth a few times. Make sure we get any air pockets out of there. And I think it is ready to take a trip. Yeah, I've been fighting with that and waiting on parts for a while. In the meantime, I did managed to Raptor line the inside. Starting to put the panels back in. So far I just got the seat and a couple of panels. I think it actually, the Rhino liner came out pretty good, or sorry, the Raptor liner, not Rhino liner. The Raptor liner came out great. If you saw my other video that I did talking about the spray-in bed liner and doing it with the spray cans, I said that's not too bad. And I thought that was the cheapest route to go. This actually cost me the same amount for the material, and it is 100 times better than the cans. So if you are considering doing a bed liner, I would definitely skip the rattle cans and go for the Raptor liner. The only thing that makes the Raptor liner a bit more expensive is the fact that you need an air compressor. I mean, I just got this cheap one from Harbor Freight. I think it was like 150 bucks. If you don't have the money to spend on an air compressor, no place to keep it, you go to Home Depot and rent one for a day. And seriously, now that I've done this Raptor liner, compared to that spray can stuff, I mean, it is no comparison. I would not recommend the spray can stuff. I thought it would be all right, and you know, I sprayed it. It took 6 cans, so it was like 60 bucks to do it, but I definitely needed to do at least 6 more cans to even it out, and then it would have been a decent coat. It's still kind of splotchy, but the texture and the thickness and the hardness, it just doesn't compare. But anyway, sorry, got sidetracked a bit. Gonna go ahead and get this down off the jack stands. I think I got all new brakes, so I need to test those out and test out the steering and see how that works. This will be the first time I've driven this since I started working on it, which makes me happy. So hopefully it runs all right, and we'll see how things go. Hopefully I've got some brakes here, and they're still feeling a little not great, but I've bled them. Changed everything, bled the brakes. Well, it's definitely easier to steer, that's for sure. Didn't mean to do that, but alright. I still got something rubbing in the brakes. It's new rotors, new pads. Something's rubbing. And at least visibly stopping. Scared the crap out of me. I forgot to set that bar down, so it just fell. It scared the living crap out of me. I thought something fell off the car. Apparently I didn't get the steering wheel exactly straight when I put everything back together. Off by about a quarter turn there. But overall, so far, so good. The suspension definitely still needs some work. I've had shocks and springs on back order for a while now. But everything else, I mean, it's running, the steering's working. I'll just kind of zoom around here a little bit. Brakes are working. But yeah, just going to zoom around for a little bit, test everything, go back, check for any leaks, make sure everything's still tight, see if anything's loose, and that should be it. Alright, so yeah, glad I didn't drive too far. Came back, pulled in here, and there was definitely a leak. One of the hoses was not tight enough, and so it was leaking once the fluid got hot and had some pressure built up in there. So got that tightened down. Go through, find torques for everything that I can find torques for, make sure everything's torqued down, make sure everything's tight, and I think it's good. Like I said, I already got all the rust taken care of inside. I'm gonna continue putting the panels back together in here, get the other seats in, get the outside cleaned up. I do have some bumpers, new bumpers for the front and back on order as well. I got some off-road bumpers, just some tubular ones for the back, then one on the front which has a mount for a winch. Yeah, it's coming together. It's been a frustrating project for sure, but it's been fun. It's going to be a fun little off-road rig for a whole lot cheaper than could get a regular side-by-side for. Even after parts and frustration and everything, it's still a whole lot cheaper. But yeah, if you have one of these, you know, older sidekicks, trackers, or anything like that, Samurais, then you're looking for used replacement parts. I wish I would have known about these guys, the Highway 83 Suzuki, from the beginning. Would have saved me a lot of time and frustration trying to find pieces and parts for this Power 6 steering system. I did come in searching though, I did come across low range off-road, which I got the pump and the aftermarket parts for. So I wasn't able to find, you know, used parts anywhere. So then I was like, okay, let's piece together some other parts, which is where, you know, you got the Toyota pump and custom reservoir and custom fittings and hoses and everything, which low range off-road were able to help me get together. So I'm very appreciative of them. However, still ran into problems putting that together just because the gearbox I changed out has a different spline for the pitman arm, and the pitman arm is not like brake pads or something like that where people, you know, there's a stock of them sitting around that are, let me clean you off here. You know, it's not like it's a part that's mass manufactured and readily available for most cars, much less a 25-year-old car that's no longer in production and hasn't been for 15 years. That being said, finally got that done. Everything else is coming together. If I ever get the shocks and suspension in, I'll do the lift so I can get some bigger tires on there. But other than that, I think it's just get everything else put back together, and maybe this weekend we can actually get this out on some trails and see how it goes. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate you. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.